Hey, I'm Krista Wax. You are listening to Right on Radio, and I am here with best-selling author Ellie Palmer. Hello.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, thank you. I'm so excited to have you here. I'm such a fan of your books, and here we are. How's everything going?
It's going great. Can't complain. As you can see, I started decorating very early. I
I love
that is a true part of my personality. That is also in 4 weekends and a funeral. I do decorate really early.
I love it. I was just speaking with a local artist who does, she was saying she does a lot of holiday shows. And they said, oh, so at midnight, November 1st, are you doing the Mariah Carey, It's Time?
It's time.
Yeah. And she said, no, but that would be December 1st for her. But I am thrilled that you are.
I
It's
mean, I don't argue with Mariah Carey. If she
no.
tells me it's Christmas, it's Christmas.
Because I definitely found myself belting that out on November 1st as well and did the hand movements as well. I'm glad you're familiar with
Mhm.
it. Aside from talking about holidays, we are here to talk about your book, Anywhere with
Mhm.
You. Let's see, capturing it.
Yes.
Um, let's talk about it. Tell me about I read it. I do know, but I'm sure you have a
A
better.
little a
Yeah.
little blurb for it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So Anywhere with You follows Charlie, who is recently divorced, a little disillusioned about love. And so when she learns that her sister is planning to elope with her on again, off again high school ex boyfriend in the North Woods of Minnesota, she's like, well, every part of that's a horrible idea. So I have to stop this. And she enlists none other than her childhood best friend, Ethan, who happens to be a musician who lives in a camper van. And so together they go up north to stop this wedding. Old feelings resurface, and she has to decide whether she's going to take a risk on this new love or take a risk on this old love, rather, all while trying to stop her sister from doing the very same thing.
I mean, what could go wrong? That seems very straightforward.
There's no hypocrisy at all. Everything is going to work out totally fine. So
Absolutely.
yeah, as with all great rom-coms, hijinks ensue, and we get kind of all the road trip fun. But there's also like a really lovely sister story at the center where we kind of deal with these the way these two women have experienced um, watching romantic relationships over the course of their adolescence and how they've internalized those a little bit differently.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that this book along with Four Weekends and a Funeral has just a lot of depth with the characters that there's a lot more. There's more than just the romance. I mean, I love some hijinks. So road trip
Mm-hmm.
hijinks, the the kayaking scene with the sister. Oh my gosh, that was that had me laughing so hard. It
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
and just like the sisterly love and getting through just like that family stuff and having to deal with working through that the issues
Yeah.
from their
Well, I'm a big fan of like 90s rom-coms. And those were always my favorite parts of them were the ones that had they had the hijinks, they had the fun, they had like the falling in love feelings, but they also had these characters who were going through with these really relatable things that were happening in their lives. One of my favorites is While You Were Sleeping. My first book kind of borrows a little bit from that movie. And she's really dealing so much with grief and loneliness. And like there is so much going on beneath the surface. And Nora Ephron always wrote these movies that were asking these really big questions about who we are and how we can and about our relationships that aren't just romantic. And I've always loved that kind of the way that those two things work together. And I'm also someone who my defense mechanism is humor. So whenever anything bad happens in my life, I'm immediately thinking of how I can make this into a joke. And so I feel like that also really lends itself for romantic comedies.
absolutely some wonderful references there. Yes, while you were sleeping, definite hijinks through all of the movie and the situations going through. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, what is that main character dealing with? Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Why does she want to be a part of this other family so badly?
right.
There's
They're so
something dark happening there.
they're so chaotic, but it's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
All those things. Oh, yes. Huge fan of 90s rom-coms. That's never a bad place to be.
Mm-hmm. definitely.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about the setting about northern Minnesota and making it through this road trip. I'm from the Twin Cities as well, grew up here, so this is along the way up north, as we all say, no matter where we're
Hmm.
going, is such a that's a way of life here during certain
Hmm.
times of the year. Were you inspired by your own road trips, or how did that play into the book?
Wow. I was so inspired by like those like childhood summers. So like road trips, going up north. Um, there's some flashbacks in Anywhere with You where I really tried to capture that like childhood summer experience of like throwing your bike on a pile of other bikes and just like doing, climbing up a waterfall that explicitly tells you not to climb up it and just like that kind of things where you're those like kind of like lake life Minnesota experiences. I grew up in Michigan, but we also called everything up north if you were leaving the Detroit area. And so that sort of like road tripping to this like other part of natural beauty in our own state is something that I've also grown up with and I really love about the Midwest. And so I really wanted to capture that experience of being in the city and going out into the woods and kind of having that adventure.
Absolutely. Yeah, it doesn't matter what part of the Midwest we all have.
We all have woods.
Yeah, most
That's
places
the one
you
thing that binds us together.
Yes. When did you move to Minnesota?
I moved to Minnesota in 2011.
Okay.
So I've been here a hot minute.
Yeah, but
Mhm.
you're doing great.
Yeah, no, and I love it here. It's really special. When I first moved here, I moved here for law school and I had every intention of going back to Michigan afterwards. But I just was like, I love it here. I'm just gonna stay. I also met a Minnesota man, and I quickly learned that Minnesota men do not leave Minnesota under any circumstances. So that was also part of it too.
That is true. That is a very true statement. I haven't thought too
Hmm.
much about it, but you're right. You're right.
Yes, I most of the transplant women I've met, it's because like I thought I was going to leave, but I found a Minnesota man and they refused to leave, so we must stay. And luckily, I just really love it here too, so that helps.
Yes, that's a bonus.
Yeah, that helps. That would be tough if I was in a state where I was like, I don't really understand the weather here, but I love winter. I love cold. I kind of feel like I was supposed to end up here.
Oh, definitely. That's the only natural
Mhm.
step from Michigan is
Yes. I mean, I used to joke that I was going to end up in Alaska one day because of how much I love the winter. But then I moved here and I was like, far north enough. I don't need to go any further north.
Oh,
It's colder here, even than like, somewhere a few hours south. So I made it here and I was like, I feel like I can stay. I found a place that is the exact type of winter that I'm looking for.
I love it. That's good. That's
Hmm.
that's so encouraging. I have grown up here my whole life and I still struggle with the cold, so it's actually encouraging to hear people who are like, I like the cold and I'm here and it's
Hmm.
great. So,
I will complain about the cold because I am human, but I feel like as long as you have like one winter activity you enjoy that's outside, I think it's like you can kind of survive that whole season. You just have to have one thing you like doing outside, and then it all feels worth
definitely.
it.
That's true. Even if it's just darting across the parking lot to get inside.
Yeah, like I like to run across and get a little bit of sun as I'm heading to my car.
Yes.
Then I think it all works out.
Yes. Gets the blood flowing,
Mhm.
all of that. Well, let's talk a little bit about Four Weekends and a Funeral as well and just get a little flavor of it too. That was your debut novel
Yes,
as well. You want to go a little bit about, we'll give
absolutely.
talk about,
Yeah.
I love that book too. It was so good.
Mhm.
It was so good.
Yeah. So 4 Weekends and a Funeral is about a woman named Allison who shows up to her ex-boyfriend's funeral only to discover that he never told anyone that he dumped her. She goes along with it for the sake of the family, but she never really counted on falling for his grumpy best friend, Adam, who's a carpenter, which is a little bit of an homage to While You Were Sleeping, which is I wouldn't say the movie inspired the book. I had thought of the premise of that book and sort of some of the other layers in that book, which is that she's also a carrier of the BRCA1 genetic mutation, the breast cancer gene, and she's post mastectomy and trying to like kind of understand this like shift in identity that she's having because of that surgery. I had all those ideas before, but I wasn't sure how to make it like book shaped until I was watching While You Were Sleeping, which is a movie I've seen a million times. But as I was watching it, I was like, this isn't that dissimilar. If we can write a rom com about someone in a coma, I think we can write a rom com about this like wild premise I thought of. And so I really love that the way that I tried to kind of add in some little nods to that movie, just as sort of like a thank you for for inspiring me to make this into a serviceable rom com.
Yes, all those tropes and all the things.
Yes. And that's also a phenomenal Christmas movie. I feel like people always forget that it's one you can go to in the Christmas season. And so there's a little bit of winter and holidays in Four Weekends as well. So it's a kind of a nice one to pick up right now.
Definitely. I'm now the more we're talking about it, I want to read it again right now. So we're
It is like right now is like when the book starts. It's like we are in like the leaves have fallen off the trees. We're like,
yeah,
what do we do now?
right. Exactly. Well, in your writing process or even, becoming an author, is there anything that was, surprising to you along the process or I mean, I'm sure a lot, but more specific, something where you're like, I was not expecting that or I mean, can I just say I'm going to sidebar my own question here right now, but
Mhm.
you have an Abby quote on here. You had an Abby Jimenez, sorry, I should say Abby Jimenez quote on this book and for Four Weekends in a
Mhm.
funeral. Um, I'm excited for you for that in general, but
Yeah. That was incredible. Yeah, no, I do think that is the thing that's been the most surprising and exciting about this was I didn't really expect that. We think of writing as such a solitary endeavor. You're sitting in front of your laptop, like often, like for me, I wake up in the morning and write, so I'm like in the dark, like in gremlin mode, like writing the book. And I did not expect it to be a way that I would meet so many lovely people, like so many readers, so many writers. It's a way that I've been able to kind of make kind of new friendships with people who have so much in common and have so much kind of shared cultural like history. Like we all have the same kind of touchstones. And it's complicated to make friends in adulthood that aren't. I have a child, so it's like all of my friends for a long time was like who are friends with who are the parents of my kids' friends and who are friends that I've met through my workplace. And this has kind of broadened up to like a way to meet so many like really lovely, wonderful people that I'm happy to call my friends. And so that's been really kind of I didn't expect that aspect of it at all. I expected it to be like very solitary and very kind of a lonely experience, and it really hasn't been.
that's so cool. And I feel like I go to a lot of author events and it's just so fun to see all of you interact together or even supporting each other, going to each other's events, even if, I am talking about what I
Mm-hmm.
saw you last night at the Parkway. But,
Mm-hmm.
for the book event and just seeing who shows up for each other and who's there. And it's it's so fun. It's so great to see like, they were talking about, oh, we're on a group chat and how do I say, I mean, I'm not going to say any of the words that they said in the book event. I'm not, we're on the radio. But, like, how do I write about this topic? How do I say this word differently? And that type of, it's just fun that you all are there for each other and just support each other. It's so cool.
Yeah, like the community of it is real and kind of connecting with other writers and readers and discussing like mundane things like, is this word still word people say? Like, are people still saying this word? Or is this, am I dating myself by incorporating this? Or just kind of like reference points. I'm writing about this topic. Does anyone know a book that would be would kind of like help me get more insight into this or some other piece of media. And so that's been, an incredible resource, but also just a way that we're really, joking and continuing our friendship offline too.
Yes. How did you decide you wanted to become an author and start writing books? How'd that how'd that come to be? Excuse me while I don't speak proper English.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things that I've always sort of wanted to do. It's the kind of a bit of a family joke where I've said for since I was a kid that I was gonna write a book, and then at some point they're like, "Where's that book you said you were gonna write?" I'm like, "How dare you remember things I say and bring them up later? Come on." But it was like kind of it started almost as like a bucket list thing where I've been saying my whole life I wanted to write a book. I'm just going to sit down and try and write a book. And there are many false starts. I have many things on my Google Docs that are books that will never come to be. But it wasn't until kind of I had this kind of perfect storm of ideas that came together where I really saw not just like the premise or the beginning of the book, but I really saw how this book would take shape and like from how we would watch this character grow, that I was able to really dig in and write this book. And I did not like I did not think anyone would read it. Like I wrote 4 Weekends and a Funeral assuming that it would live and die on my Google Docs and I would never send it out into the world. And it was really just like meeting people through the writing community and like their encouragement and like, no, this is really something. You should have other people read this book. And so that kind of kept going to like kind of the next organic step over and over until I ended up, finding an agent, and that agent like sent it out to different publishers. And now I'm at my home with my romantic comedies at Putnam, which I just really, really love working with them. And so it kind of snowballed from there.
Oh, that's so cool.
Mhm.
So cool. It's very exciting. What what is my question? Hmm. Is there anything you can share about what's coming next?
Yes. So I have my next rom-com comes out this next summer in July, called Married with Benefits. We just did like the reveal of the cover, and it's so beautiful. And it's available for pre-order now, which is exciting because it's always fun when you have like an actual, it feels real when people can actually try and buy it, which is lovely. And so, yeah, and that one is a marriage of convenience story, kind of one of those like classic tropes that you see a lot in historical romances. You don't see as much in contemporary. So it was really fun trying to find a way to bring that kind of older trope into this like modern era. So with that, it is a marriage of convenience for healthcare and real estate, the issues of our time. And so she this woman, Lainey, she is kind of a starving artist. She is in the gig economy. She has about 1 million jobs, and she has chronic migraines and is struggling to pay for her health insurance to cover her medication that she needs. And so she ends up through an archaic doctrine of adverse possession. She finds that she has squatted her way into owning kind of an iconic piece of architecture that has been willed to a inconveniently attractive man who also wants the property. And so they strike up a deal where he is going to they'll get married, and he'll provide her health insurance, and she'll provide him the property. And I don't know what could possibly go wrong other than literally everything.
Yeah, it sounds very straightforward.
Yes. But I am in as I said, I moved here for law school. So I do have a fun time trying to find ways to incorporate sort of bizarre legal things that never really happen in real life, but we spent a lot of time in law school, as though that was going to be. I was under the impression that I was going to be dealing with squatters a lot, like that, based on my property law experience. Similar to like when you're growing up, you're like, I feel like quicksand is really going to be an issue I'm going to encounter. It's pretty similar.
But exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Yes, I loved in Anywhere with You the patent legal and the
Mhm.
not the bear trap, but it was
Yeah, it was an
animal
animal
trap.
trap.
And
And yeah, so my husband's a patent attorney. And so
Oh,
like I've talked to him about patent issues for like years and years. And I was like, I need to figure out a way to put this into a book so I can like deposit this information somewhere. And and that was kind of based on what happens is that she is working on a patent earlier and it becomes relevant later. And that is kind of based on experiences with my husband, where he just knows very specific, strange things about very random objects. And it's because, like, oh, yeah, I was looking up that for prior art for a patent I was writing. And I'm just like, why on earth do you know how my makeup brush is glued together? He's like, well, it was relevant at the time. And so that was just one of those things that I find really kind of funny and charming about his job, is that he is genuinely curious about how things kind of mechanically work together, and just sort of moves about the world as if someone who's like about to take apart a toaster and put it back together. And I kind of wanted to put that in a character.
I love that. I mean, you can tell there is legal in your background for sure, with just some nods to it here and there. And I love that you're
Mhm.
continuing that on with the next book as well.
Yeah, I try to pick only like the fun, funny stuff where um if you have no interest in the law at all, it'll just be kind of like a fun curiosity as opposed to kind of getting I try to get too in the weeds with
Pardon me. Sorry.
it.
Exactly. Not too far in the weeds, just enough to like whet our appetite. Like I think if I could go back, I would go back and become a lawyer. I find the law fascinating, but I love fictional books about law and anything that you can put in there. So
Mhm.
that's I'm down. So thank you.
Yeah. That is kind of one of the fun things about writing is you have a place for all of your when you go down those kind of rabbit holes, those like research rabbit holes, you have a place to put that knowledge. So it's not just like I wasted 2 hours of my life figuring out like about transit consultants. It's like, well, I can make a character a transit consultant. I don't know why I was obsessed with this for 2 hours, but now I have a reason to use this. And so in 4 Weekends and a Funeral, she's a transit consultant. And that was a little bit of a nod to Sandra Bullock's job in While You Were Sleeping. But it was also like my son was really into trains, and I just knew a lot about trains. So they need to have something to do with this, or else why did I do it?
Right. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
that's fantastic. I love all of that. Little Easter eggs. It feels like we're learning and reading about. What are you reading right now? Anything?
Right.
Anything?
Yes. What a good question. Right now I am reading Just a Highland Fling by Naina Kumar. That comes out in July as well. And that's a really such a fun book. It's kind of like a runaway bride, but the main character accidentally becomes the reason why the bride runs away, and so now she has to go retrieve the bride, and kind of go on this road trip adventure through the Scottish Highlands, and so that's a really fun one that comes out. I also Ladies in Hating by Alexander Vasti is um, a historical romance about two Gothic female Gothic novelists who are in a castle together, and some haunted things occur. But it's also they have a bit of a rivalry, and so that's kind of a fun one too. That's out right now too.
Oh, that sounds good
Mm.
too. Ooh, some good book recommendations.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, Ellie, thank you so much for your time today and coming on Right on Radio. It was great chatting with you and reminiscing about while you were sleeping. Now I gotta go watch that movie again.
It's the time of year. We have
Right.
to watch
It's
it.
perfect. And to reread
Pull
for
up Disney
right.
Plus.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, I'm in it. Let's go. Well, happy holiday season. And thank you so much. And looking forward to next summer's book.
Yes, thank you for having me.